Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the U of T Esports broadcast. I'm your host, Faffles, joined by the lovely Soren. Soren, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's been a pretty calm day, and I'm excited to see some Deadlock.
Nice, so am I. And I actually do have word that both of these teams are already in the draft, so we'll head on over to that.
Okay, so we're seeing the initial Kelvin ban, which is kind of standard, but then Purdue, who's the opponent tonight for University of Toronto, Purdue have banned out the Grey Talon first, which is very interesting because it lets Toronto get the victor.
hmm Yeah, Victor's a very potent character this match. He's been very volatile. He got really significantly buffed and then nerfed and then buffed again after that. Like, how do you feel he sits right now? Is he really first pick worthy?
He definitely is. Like the
hmm
main three that you see get banned in this first wave are like Kelvin, Victor, and Pocket. And we've
hmm
seen all three of those get picked up already. The really only surprising thing here is that Pocket wasn't the ban for Purdue. I'm
hmm
not terribly familiar if there's a particularly good Grey Talon on the University of Toronto roster, but he can at least be a very annoying character to play against.
Okay, so that's your read then. So if the Great Talon ban is there mostly because it's probably targeted rather than it being a general, high value pick in this current meta.
I'd expect so.
hmm
Really, even when he was getting first banned a lot of the time,
hmm
we heard from one of the coaches of a European pro team. I think it was Buff Enjoyers. Their
hmm
coach said in an interview, "Yeah, nobody was really banning him because he was the most powerful hero in the meta.
Yep.
Nobody wanted to play against him. He's just that
hmm
annoying." So it
Yeah.
could be the case that this is just he's not fun to play against.
Understandably, vibes based banning is definitely the way to go sometimes. And it looks like Purdue also have picked their second character. They're going with the Mo and Krill. Lots of lockdown, lots of CC, and it's a really promising first two picks. What's your thoughts on that?
I like the pocket here. I think that's definitely
hmm
the best option available to you. I am a little bit surprised by this Mo and Krill, though. We were talking a little bit
hmm
before the broadcast about how Mo kind of gets countered by a lot of the meta heroes right now,
hmm
such as the Viscus that we're seeing picked up by University of Toronto. Also, the Infernus is one of the best carry heroes in the meta right now, and that's just a terrible early matchup for Mo. So, a little
Yep.
bit of a surprising one here, but Mo is definitely like a decent hero still. He's not terrible.
Yeah, for sure. And seeing Paradox scooped up as well on a third pick, nonetheless. And I've seen a lot of high priority for her throughout, the recent tournaments that have been going on. I guess they're
Okay.
planning their plan here is to instead trade it with the Infernus.
Yeah, pretty much.
hmm
Paradox is definitely up there as well. The Viscous is a little bit surprising, but as a counter to Mo, I can definitely see it. And Viscous is just strong as well. Um, Letting
hmm
Infernus go back to Purdue is is a little bit surprising, and they will pick it up, which I think is fantastic here because it means you don't have your Mo and Krill going against one of the best damage dealers in the game against him. So
hmm
Purdue with a little bit better draft, I think, headed in here to the second wave of bans.
All right. So what is kind of the headspace that both of these teams are looking into? Because they, like you said, they each have their own solid bases. Purdue really, ahead a little bit in terms of the team composition that they're cooking up. What could we be looking into here in the second half?
So the main thing that University of Toronto are missing right now is someone to deal a lot of damage. They've got the Victor, who's a pretty good scaling threat, but early in the game, he's more about just survivability and
Yep.
making sure that you can't kill him. Viscous, with a bit of supporting tools and also some burst. Paradox can do a bit of damage, but they don't really have like their really heavy hitter. And I'd expect to see something like a Wraith or a Mina for that role. Um,
hmm
but that's kind of the main gap in their team comp right now. For Purdue, I think they've got a pretty well-rounded comp, so it's just going to be about basically continuing that throughout the second half of the draft.
Gotcha. Okay. Because yeah, there's a lot of places where the draft can go, and you can see here that Purdue is really digging really deep into their reserve time, spending nearly an extra minute just to get the Mirage ban out. But Mirage is a very solid character, is more so known for their map presence, having the ability to teleport to any location, any ally or foe, really gives yourself a leg up, especially on that split pushing. So having him off the board is really a lot less of a threat for Purdue to have to worry about.
Yeah, it definitely is, especially if they decide to pick up the Ivy here, which I could see doing some work for them. Someone
Hmm.
who can pair decently well with Mo, someone who can help get the Infernus out of trouble, but also really it's Ivy and Mirage who have the two ultimates that let you split push and then get away faster than the other person to go and join the team fight. So
Yep.
this could be that angle for them. Mirage was getting a lot of hype at the start of this patch, but he kind of fell off and is more towards like a bottom of A, top of B tier sort of hero.
Hmm.
In response, however, the Shiv goes away, and that is a character who I was expecting to see a bit earlier. Shiv is kind of strong right now.
Yep.
Definitely understandable that University of Toronto didn't want to let that go further.
Yep. The one of the heralds of the apocalypse is another Shiv meta, and I definitely feel like we're, approaching it with how he's slowly crept back up to the top. Interesting pick from Purdue. They snatch up that Abrams, uh, really solid frontliner, having the ability the siphon life, and also synergizing really strongly with. With a lot of in meta themes and items, and also stealing it away from UofT, who it's really been a staple for them to have the Abrams in a lot of their games.
Abrams is also strong right now, and I do like that pickup for Purdue. They were missing a little bit of front line. Like
Yep.
Mo and Krill is a bit tanky, but you don't really want to have him be leading the charge for the team. Whereas
Yep.
Abrams is a character that can get in and do a lot of that damage. I love the response from University of Toronto here, picking up the Mina and the Billy. Billy's another frontliner, can trade pretty well with the
Hmm.
Abrams or the Mo or anyone else. And then Mina is going to be their damage that I was saying that they were missing. Mina is a late game scaling carry and just also a nightmare to lane against early on. So strong pickups here.
Yeah, and the Mina Renaissance really has been exciting to watch. Seeing how the most recent patch came out, nerfed a lot of the old, full spirit, full ult Nox Nostra based builds. But then we sort of see her pivot into a hybrid. She's building some gun items. She's still building a lot of heavy spirit, of course, and still really just shining and still being one of those top tier characters. And we also do see that Purdue is locked in the page.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. The last two heroes here for Purdue, I don't hate it. Like
Hmm.
Page, I think has been coming up a little bit lately as like an anti-pick hero. If one of your frontliners gets caught out by something like a paradox swap or a Mo combo, you can have Page just give them Guardian Ward as well as her natural shielding,
Hmm.
and they just don't die. But since University of Toronto only have like the paradox as their pick hero right now, that's one of
Hmm.
the less effective Page targets. So I don't know. Hayes is kind of a pick hero for them as well, and I guess that combos with like the Mo or the Infernus or something. But kind of generally a weaker end to that draft for Purdue. I would have preferred to see probably something like the Ivy, as I was saying, or if they have a good
Mhm.
Calico player, that would have been really effective for them, synergizing with the Abrams to just go in and wreak havoc. But hey, Hayes can be played pretty well. We've seen Europeans especially pick that hero up.
Yep, and, what would you say is really the game plan that you can pull apart from this draft? Are Purdue really aiming for that early game? Are they aiming for the late game, the skirmishes, the split pushing? What's your read on this team comp?
I think they have a pretty well-rounded comp, to be honest. I don't think there's a
Mhm.
particular window where they're especially strong. I will say that going into the late game, you have to favor University of Toronto here with the Mina and the Victor. Both of those
Mhm.
scale better than anything that Purdue is doing, except maybe a really good Infernus, but even that's going to be tricky with only so many scaling heroes on his side of the squad. So especially with the Wraith pickup here, I expect U of
Mhm.
T to be really playing for the late game.
Yeah, lots of damage that they're able to pump out, and, like, as you said, UofT really do seem to be leading the charge with this draft. It really came around in that second half. Since this is our first time streaming Deadlock for everyone in the UofT sports chats, Soren, why don't you explain for us how the format for the current collegiate season works?
Yeah, so this being the collegiate series, this is not a specific tournament, right? There's no bracket that we can show you that shows how these teams are going to go up against each other, but this is almost a round robin sort of style. And that means that tonight we'll be doing exactly two games. No matter who wins each of them, we're doing two games tonight, and there's not a tiebreaker or anything. If these teams go 1-1, it'll be 3 points each on the season. If one of the teams go 2-0, then it's going to be 6 points for them, and all those points are just tallied up on the leaderboard throughout the season.
Yeah.
and then eventually we'll go into playoffs, and that will be more of a traditional bracket style. But tonight, it's 2 games, and the winner gets points.
Yep. Thank you for the explanation there. And we do also see from the previous week. So this is week 2 of the Collegiate Series, and in week 1, UofT were able to secure the win for both of their matches. So they are starting off in the top half of that bracket so far with 6 points. They get 3 points per win, and their opponents are starting off with 0. So it doesn't really say too much because we still are in the beginning of the season. You have your stronger teams and your weaker teams, but it is still something to keep in mind as we head into this next series.
I will say, from the collegiate matches that I've spectated so far, I think U of T
Hmm.
are one of the better teams in their region. There's a couple other
Hmm.
strong contenders, but I think we should see a pretty good game tonight from University of Toronto. Purdue, I can't say anything about. I haven't seen many of their players yet, but uh, I say we've got at least a good shot. An interesting thing about the leaderboard so far is that none of the teams actually ended up going 1-1. Um,
Hmm.
Everybody either won 2-0 or lost 0-2. So everyone's sitting at either 6 or 0.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to have to drop you into a quick break, and then when we're back, we'll be starting off with the game. Thank you all for watching.